Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And many of you have asked me, Raya, are you a Shia or a Sunni? Some of you know that I'm an Iranian, and it's fair to think that if I'm Iranian, I'm a Shia. And some of you also have known me for 20 plus years and know that I have practiced Sunnah, taught Sunnah, and all I have been connected with is Sunnah. So it's fair to think that I'm a Sunni. So which one? Who am I? So I'll explain it to you. I'm writing a book about my journey, but I have to make this very short because of lack of time for this video. And yes, I was born in Iran with my family, and we were all Shias, and we were just not really strong practicing Shia. My family migrated to the United States in 1959, one by one. Actually, my turn was 1969, 10 years later. So we migrated there, and pretty much after a while we did not practice Islam, or didn't even maybe care about it. So after many years, I started feeling the need to have more of a spiritual life, and I was looking for Allah. And I joined Hinduism, and I found a lot of idolatry in there. I joined Buddhism, I found the same, I was dissatisfied. I joined other schools of thoughts, and I joined Christianity 7.5 years. I even studied at Christian university, I even taught the Bible. And the only thing is I could never worship Jesus as God, I could not accept it. But I didn't have really any knowledge that what is in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His great mercy on me, He guided me back to Islam. And at the time I was not thinking Shia or Sunni. He guided me back to Sunni Islam. So I totally accepted it with open arm, embraced it. I tried to learn. And even my second husband was a Sunni scholar, very well known. And he gave me many books. I taught a lot, I learned a lot. And everything for me was, Sunni practice. And I was completely happy with it. And I'm still happy with it to this day. Except that what happened was, because he was quite a well-known scholar, whenever he was in US, he would give talks where a lot of people would attend at the Islamic centers. He was always calling the Shias kafir and mushrik. It just happened that I was in one of his lectures in New York, and then I was shocked. I said, why are you doing that? He said, that's what they are. I said, you're calling my parents, my ancestors, kafir and mushrik. Why is this? Then he was trying to give me some ideas about it, which was not acceptable. I really wanted to learn more, but he did not like for me to do research. So, long story short, I ended up asking for divorce. This is something that was my right, I wanted to know. So I traveled to Iran after 32 years that I was not there. I went there, went directly to Qom, this city of scholars. I spent 7 months there. I studied, I talked, I interviewed, and got pretty good idea who are the Shias, what is it that they believe. And of course, this is not near enough time to know everything. I had about 200 books shipped to US so that I can study. Anyway, this was like about 2001 and 2002 together, 7 months I was in Iran. And then I came back, and at the time the 9/11 had happened, and I really had to spend a lot of time giving lectures about Islam and not focus on Shia Sunnis, because basically Islam was under attack. And I was giving talks, lectures at the university, at the churches, at anywhere that they would ask me. People were very open about it. And this led me to want to study more and get communication degrees, which I did, to have better communication skills so I could communicate with people and explain about Islam. In the meantime, I have been, it's like 16, 17 years, reading, learning about the Shias. And what really attracted me to want to learn more was this particular hadith that is called Hadith Thaqalain. It's a hadith that it's authentic hadith. It's in all the books of the Ahl Sunnah except Bukhari, that talks about Rasulullah, peace be upon him. Before he passed away, he said after the last Hajj, he said to people, I'm leaving this world and I'm leaving behind two heavy things, Quran and itrati, that means my family. Whoever hangs on to them will never go astray. This actually is narrated in different forms. I found like 36 narrations of the same thing in the 6 books. I actually asked my ex-husband, is this correct? Because he was also Hafiz of the Quran, a memorizer of all the books of Hadith. Yes, he said it's okay. But, I mean, he brought some excuses about it, but this is before I left him. And I started thinking, what does this really mean? I thought it's Quran and Sunnah. Well, research showed that the Quran and Sunnah, it's only stated in 2 places, and some people say it's not even authentic. And the Quran and itrati is authentic and narrated and accepted by all scholars on both sides. So this is pretty heavy thing. This is, what am I supposed to do with this information? Then I wanted to know who are the Imams of the Shia. And the more I learned about them, the more I realized these men were treasure that the Ummah, I guess maybe on the Sunni side, they don't even know them. But of course, if you tell them we love the family of the Prophet, everybody says, yes, we also love them. But sadly, people don't know enough about the family of the Prophet, unfortunately. So, okay, I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn who they were. In the meantime, I'm not changing anything. I'm still practicing Quran and Sunnah. And the more I learned, the more I realized it's so important for all of us to know that the most important thing is we put the book of Allah first and the Sunnah of Rasulullah, peace be upon him, next. Authentic Sunnah that comes to us. And I came to the conclusion that anything that I have learned that has come from the Sahaba, righteous Sahaba, truthful Sahaba, that has come to us, that is authentic, then I accept, live by it. If something has come to us from the family of the Prophet and it's authentic, same, we accept it. It's just that I was not sure about the narrations, authentication of the hadith from that side. That meant I needed to really learn a lot. So if I am told, like Imam Sadiq said this, how do I know this is correct? I found this troublesome for me because it would actually take a lot of time. Even in Iran, there is an institute that has the largest software actually possession they have. They gave me the software that gave me access to all the books of tafsir, Sunni, Shia, a lot. It's like thousands of books in it. Unfortunately, a lot of it is in Arabic. And also to know how to work with the software, it's been difficult. Nonetheless, my position has been, yes, I believe that the Imams of the Shia were righteous people, and whatever comes from them that has been correct, we have to accept. And whatever comes from us, from the Sunni side, we also have to accept. Okay, my position about the Khulafa, I respect whatever happened. I respect Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, and Ali as being the 4th Khalifa. And I can never say anything bad about any of them. I know how Ahl Sunnah feel about them, and I have read many things about them, about their qualities. And I think we have to keep this. If the Shia are listening to this, we have to respect those whom Allah promised Jannah. So we respect them, and then I understand there's a disagreement about who should have been the Khalifa after Rasulullah. This by itself would be another long video where each side is, and hopefully inshallah I'm covering that in the book. In the meantime, I think one of the things that came as a big knife into my heart was the tragedy of Ashura, the martyrdom of Imam Hussain, which it happens that while I'm talking to you today is we only have a few days before that Ashura happening. And this was, I don't know what to say and how to say and how to explain and how far go back to make sense to you, to those of you who don't know this story. Shias know the story quite well, and the Ahl Sunnah don't know. And I feel, even though I consider myself a Sunni, I feel I have to take it upon myself to understand what happened so that I would not mistakenly criticize our brothers and sisters who are Shia for something that I don't understand why they do certain things. Anyhow, the whole issue about Imam Hussain, we have to go back all the way to what happened to the Ummah after Rasulullah, peace be upon him, passed away. We know that there was a disagreement who should have been the Khalifa, Abu Bakr or Ali. And you know there was a division for quite a while. Finally, I'm not going to go over this three Khalifas because that is problematic time-wise. I'll go to Ali. Imam Ali, when people of Medina chose him and gave him bay'ah, and Muawiyah did not give him bay'ah, and for the excuse of who killed Uthman, but that is also another thing. I would call it a lame excuse. Basically, he wanted the power, and I am not shy to talk bravely against those who really fought against the family of the Prophet. And Muawiyah was the first one who did not accept that, and then fought 2 wars with Ali. Then Ali was finally martyred. He chose Hassan as his successor, and Muawiyah went to war with him. Hassan abdicated under the condition, and this condition, it's not by Raya, my opinion, or Shia. This is in the Sunni books. I usually try to read both sides to see where are the commonalities so that I may not take one side versus the other. It's not an easy thing to do. I could sometimes make a mistake. But my understanding was the application was on the condition that Muawiyah would not choose a successor after himself. One narration said that the people would choose, the other narration would say that Imam Hassan would be the next one. It seems like that would most likely the case. We understand Imam Hassan was poisoned, and of course the Shia points finger at Muawiyah to eradicate who would be in front of, getting the successorship. And well before his death, he chose Yazid as his successor. Now, I can pretty much say most of the scholars or Sahabas, whoever were learned, they disagreed with this choice because Yazid was not qualified. He had an immoral way of life, and nobody wanted him to be the Khalifa, did not agree with this. And of course, Imam Hassan, before he passed away, he chose Hussain, his brother, Imam Hussain, as the successor. People in Medina advised Imam Hussain, Ibn Abbas, or some of the scholars, some of the companions advised Imam Hussain not to go to war or not to go, against Yazid. But Imam Hussain was like, it's not about power. It's about Islam. It's about Allah. We give bay'ah to a tyrant. This is unacceptable. Although many people did, because Muawiyah, before he passed away, he asked people to give bay'ah to his son. And many people did out of fear, out of whatever it was. Muawiyah, he had actually expanded a very large territory. He had a huge army. He had a lot of power. At the time, Imam Hassan did not have army. Imam Hussain did not have an army, just he had his family and some of the people that, loved him and basically respected him, wanted to be around him. But you're talking about a huge army versus a person with very limited resources. Imam Hussain sent Muslim ibn Aqil, who was his relative, to go to Kufa. In the meantime, by the way, Kufans had sent many letters to Imam Hussain asking him to come to Kufa, and more than 18,000 people had written to him and that we are ready to take the Pledge of Allegiance at your hand. Imam sent Muslim ibn Aqil, and people got very excited in Kufa. They wanted to give bay'ah to Imam Hussain through Muslim ibn Aqil. When Yazid finds out about this, basically he sends the governor of Basra, which was Ibn Ziyad, to go basically settle this case and not let anything like this to happen. Ibn Ziyad happened to come to Kufa, threaten everybody that if you give bay'ah, everybody is going to be wiped out. So you can see it happening today, how the rulers are. If they say you cannot be on Facebook, nobody goes on Facebook. They say if you do this, we'll put you in jail. People get afraid. So basically, they backed out. Some people say that the people of Kufa betrayed him, but I mean, it could be considered that way, but given that they were threatened and they were afraid, so basically they backed off. Ibn Ziyad happened to kill Muslim ibn Aqil, and this message actually reached Imam Hussain while he was halfway towards Karbala. He asked his companions, his family, anybody wanted to go back, because he told them, if you come and follow me, there will be no returning back, you will not be alive. So by the time he arrived in Karbala, Yazid army, there was 1,000 of them there, and then Ibn Ziyad, he commissioned Amr ibn Sa'd to basically surround them and put a stop to this. He actually happened to be a son of a companion, Sa'd ibn Abdullah As. And he brought 4,000 people. They surrounded Imam Hussain. He had 72 of his own family, wives and children and sons and grandsons and nephews and nieces he had with him, plus some companions. So for a month they were surrounded, and they tried to kill them. They would not let them have water, food, or anything like this. The story is very sad, and it's easy to have tears in your eyes when you hear the story. And I know that in the Shia Majlis gatherings, they repeat this story every night, the first 10 nights of Muharram, and people cry. And we should not blame them for crying, because even if you sat in one of those majlis and you heard what happened, you will cry. Anyway, this continued until they fought with the family of Imam Hussain, and everybody was killed, including Imam Hussain. They cut his head off, put it on a spear, took it to Yazid, and then Amr ibn Sa'd, he ordered the horses to trample over his body with their horses, to a point where they say his body was actually disfigured. And now how do we know all this stuff that happened? There are so many witnesses that narrated this afterwards, and they were recorded. So I happen to think that it's very credible to think these are actually what has happened, and both sides narrate these, but maybe the detail of it may be a little bit different. So when they put this out, people of Medina and Mecca, they revolt. They did not want to accept. So what does Yazid do? He sends an army to put down the revolt in Medina. They attack the people there. Even, I have heard, again, I don't know if this is for sure, they even raped women. And it was a very vicious attack. And then they also attacked Mecca. They threw catapults to the city, and they threw fireballs. The Kaaba got on fire. This is authentic from both sides. Kaaba got on fire, and basically it was a disaster. They had actually surrounded the city for a month. The second time when the army was going to Medina, the news came that Yazid died, so the army withdrew. Yazid lasted 3 years, and apparently he died of an incurable disease, and he chose, his son. In the meantime, Abdullah ibn Zubair, this is the son of the companion. Some people chosen him as a Khalifa, but then there was no way Yazid was going to accept that. There was a lot of wars between him and the other side until he also got killed. If I remember right, his body was hung naked for about many months, basically to rot. This whole thing was so ugly that how this man, he wasted no effort to get rid of anything that would come in front of him and his power, only to die once he solidified his power. This is the work of Allah, to show that tyranny happens not without a punishment. Although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his own wisdom allows tyranny to exist and continue for his own reason, maybe to test us, to give us lessons. Because we see after Imam Hassan, his son actually survived. His son is Zain al-Abidin, or Ali ibn Hussain. He survived because he was very ill, so he was not killed. And we look at the very detailed history of him, his son, all the way to the 12 Imams. The 12 Imams, Shias believe that he went to occultation and he would basically return at the end day. But every single one of these noblemen were poisoned or killed by the Bani Umayyah rulers, and later on Bani Umayyah was crushed by Bani Abbas, which claimed to be from the family of the Prophet, and they themselves one by one crushed the family. The family of the Prophet did not revolt, they just wanted to be quiet and be someplace and study and teach people, but even that was not good enough. Each one of them were either killed or poisoned all the way to the end. So the Shia believes that their memory is alive, they exist, their teaching exists, and many have benefited from them, and all who oppress them, the Bani Abbas, Bani Umayyah, nobody even know where they are buried. So when I look at all of this, I consider the huge tragedy has happened that we as Muslims have ignored, maybe from the Sunni side, to me, for myself, to blame myself first for ignoring things like this, because I'm also not comfortable with some of the Shia exaggerations, some of the things that they do or believe. I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't focus on the Shia. Say, well, they did this, or they said this. I'm very critical. Even a hadith or something, I have to know where it came from. How is it? How do I know it's authentic? But some things, it's okay. It's a dua. It's okay. But it's something that I need to know the authenticity of it. I don't accept it very easily. So for the Shia ulama, they don't really love to see me because I'm a troublemaker. I ask many questions and I argue a lot. So I'm not like accepting everything, except that I am gleaning from it what I feel would benefit me. But most of my time I put in memorizing the Quran, understanding the Quran, and learning the Arabic, knowing the tafsir. For me, I think because I'm not 18 years old, I'm not young like you. I am very, very limited with the time what I can spend it on. I just wanted to say to you, to end this long video, is that this is the time I think it's best for us all to reflect, to see how in our own lives, how the life of Imam Hussain and what he did and his revolt against a tyranny, how this ended for him in the hereafter, and how he ended for those who truly believed in his mission. How life was different for them versus the ones that usurped the power and basically were after the worldly power and wealth and fame. They turn to nothing, thus they don't exist anymore. But the ones who really loved the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his progeny, and the righteous companions, I have to add this, the righteous companions also we have to praise. There are many righteous companions. All of them have to be a lesson for us so that we can learn. My suggestion is not to focus on certain things that the Shia does that we don't like to see, to focus on the bigger picture, and do not compare Imam Hussain with people say why not Hamza also was killed, Omar was killed the same day. This is all crime that was committed against them, but what happened was the difference. Umar radiallahu anhu was killed by one person, by a slave. Hamza was killed by one person. We have tragedies like this. One person hated them or whatever the reason was, but Imam Hussein was betrayed by the whole ummah, the whole ummah, and this is a huge thing. It's not an easy thing. It's not just one person that killed one person. This is a huge thing, and I think we reflect about it, and I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us if we have had bad thoughts about our brothers and sisters, whether they're Sunni or Shia. At this time, I think I know all of you know what's happening in the Muslim world and what's happening to all of our brothers and sisters everywhere. At this time, we have to think how we can unify in thoughts and love for one another, support for another, instead of accusing one another and pointing fingers at one another. And look at what has happened to the Muslim Shia against the Sunni. We don't want to be part of that kind of a mentality. I appreciate that you have listened to me, and I hope that I clarified my position. If you have a question, please feel free to ask me. In the meantime, I send my condolences to all of my brothers and sisters in Islam for the martyrdom of Imam Hussain on the day of Ashura. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.